Hello and welcome back, beautifuls, my beautiful muses. Welcome to our 9th episode in the Phoenix Priestess podcast, where we welcome death and all of its teachings and surrendering and remembering that change brings chaos. And how can we live with care and calmness and connection, even when it's feeling chaotic? What a paradox. Today's episode, I actually want to share a little bit more about myself, my journey, my soul mandala. And I'm going to begin by sharing with you all my spiritual awakening, the story of my spiritual awakening, the two gifts that I feel are the biggest for myself personally from my spiritual awakening. And then I'm also going to share with you what I've learned in around 30-ish years of spiritual practice. Little side note, when I was a teenager, I didn't like to read books, but I loved to read spiritual memoirs, empowerment books. Back in the days, they weren't really called empowerment books. It's like The Power of Now. I think that was one of my first ones. And Gary Zukov, maybe? I can't remember. But I read Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela's books when I was a teenager. At around 15 years old, I took my first yoga class. And in that yoga class, I just knew, my body just remembered, like, I recognize myself here within this practice, within these people, even if I was taking it with a Western community. But get yourself cozy, because I'm actually going to begin with the story. Today, I was actually looking for it to see if I still had it on my computer, and I did. And I read it and I thought, you know what? Truth be told, the last couple of weeks, I've felt very inward. I've felt almost like as if I'm diving into a layer of my Chiron wounding, which is in Taurus. Hello, worthiness. Like, am I worthy to receive? Am I worthy to really speak out and live out my dream life? Am I worthy to actually manifest the home of my dreams and the vision that I have seen? Am I worthy to speak and receive money from clients by me just being me? Like, am I worthy just to be worthy? So I've been in the depths of doubt, of, some people would call it stuckness. But I call it just like the deep dives that we have to go dark and deep and go into the void. Like, we have to go. And we are seasonal beings. And though I'm living in a tropical town, I am still a cyclical woman and a cyclical being. So it is natural for me to have my winter seasons. And in the Northern Hemisphere right now, it is kind of like the end curve of the winter season. And I've been speaking about the seasons here and how important it is to honor the season that you're in and actually reap the real gifts that that season wants to give to you before you move on. Like, there's no real, let me say it differently. Moving into the next season, having tended all of the territories that we must traverse, allows you to be more present in the next season. So this season, my spiritual awakening, my first real ecstatic awakening, Kundalini awakening, spiritual awakening, whatever terms are out there for that. It was actually more than 10 years ago. And I haven't really spoken about the actual first awakening because I had many after that. I had many deep ecstatic activations after that and around a 2 10-month cycle. And I'll speak a little bit later to the MMM Sanctuary's Metamorphosis course, because that's kind of like the culmination of all of my life's work. But it's a 10-month portal. And I noticed in my spiritual awakening after having 2 10-month cycles, like I didn't know it beforehand, but after having two kind of unique experiences that lasted around 10 months. And then I noticed after that, I just kept on having 10-month cycles that I realized, and I started to tune into, oh, yes, this is one of my gifts to speak this out loud, to share this with our beloved women and mothers, to remind us that our bodies are oh so wise, like that our nature is just so precious and sacred and unique, and it knows what it needs. Like, this isn't something that I'm selling you. Yes, I am selling my offerings, but what I'm trying to remind us is that our body knows these codes, these activations, these remembrances. And the more we as women just share it with each other, the more our bodies will do their own magic. Like, we won't have to be taking so many courses, having so many teachers, doing so many things collectively. I do feel like we're coming into an era now, especially in our sisterhood circles, where it is more about going inside. And we've been preaching that, and I've been one of the ones preaching it, like, go inside, trust yourself, trust your inner guidance. But we've been doing that so much so in community that when we have moments like dark nights of the souls, or just droughts, or just moments when we're like, I no longer vibe with that way of doing it, and that part dies within us, then we find ourselves reborn into a new, and that's a very private and personal experience that we have. So I find that we are going to collectively be invited to actually be more intimate and more internal with our own awakenings and activations. So here you go, beloved. So I literally start out the email, and this is, me back in the day when I had email subscriptions. So get yourself comfy because it's long, and get ready to read some pleasure-inducing lusciousness. So remember, that was an email. I'll try not to put too many parentheses because I love to do parentheses, but I'll try to read it almost as if how I wrote it without cringing too much. So I will begin by saying that this past week has been the most beautiful and most excruciating in a way, since I literally had the most cathartic experience of my life. And the day afterwards, till today, I have been like, oh shit, what do I do now? So here it is, ready or not, here I come. Below is the story and the reason why I need to write you today. The very last thing I ever expected to happen on my masseuses, she, open parentheses, she is also a doula and does shamanic healing, close parentheses, table, was to have the orgasm of my life, literally, and hence birth myself. As I was feeling in my upper back the deepest reclaim of myself into my family, mother, father, I started to orgasm literally, passing through my body and out. The most cathartic movement through me ever. I could feel every cell screaming with joy, every sensation tearing my body open. I screamed, I cried, rippled into being reconnected to love, to life, to God. My first breath was actually the gulp of consuming all of us. I could feel my body new again, from newborn to all the stages of life, ripening, laughing with ecstatic knowing. I reclaimed myself, and in doing so, the mother came through me, literally inviting me to take all of us. And finally, I felt enraptured. 12 grandmothers, ancestors from all over the world supporting life and me and us and inviting me to take my place. I wept with knowing and joy as my body started taking in and swallowing all of us, all parts of us. The churning in my stomach released what was not real, and the rest came out in waves through my bulging vagina. Fear, hatred, stories of separation being digested and released. All of my chakras were weaving and circulating the dance of life in my body. My first Kundalini awakening on this level. My limiting beliefs were melting and alchemizing into my threads of being. Love was oozing through me as I felt 2 years old, 20 years old, and 90 years old. I felt all mothers, beings in and with me, through me. And then I felt so clearly all births coming in through me and all lives leaving from me. There was such a deep connection to our humanity. And I heard and felt these words: how it has been, ... how it has been. We all come in together, period. Amnesia, period. We all go out together, period. How it is now. We all come in together, period. Love, period. We all go out together, period. How it will be, ... We all come in together, period. We are all one, period. We all go out together, period. And I felt initiated and called forth to initiate. And so, what does this have to do with you, you might ask? So, she had an orgasm on her masseuse's table. Well, I'll be the first to tell you it has everything to do with you. You see, if I literally felt within myself the most awakened state that we are being invited to feel on this earth, then it has everything to do with you, me, us. Because I would love for all mamas to have the orgasm of their life on anyone's table, or anywhere for that matter, because it is our natural state of wholeness. How we came into this world and how we leave this world. And I came here to remind you of it, and specifically to invite you to the part in between. I want you and I to live in that awakened state of ecstasy today. That's the in between. In order for us to end world suffering, I heard clearly the calling to answer the call today, to end our suffering as the act of grace for our world. And I have to say, this experience was not so bad. I swore I would have orgasmic births. I'm speaking there about my human children births. And really, I didn't. Now, my second birth, it was ecstatic. Yet I did also feel the pain and deep sensations a lot for various reasons. But it was an ecstatic birth. But it will never compare to what I felt this last week. And so where do I begin, you might ask? So you know that feeling that we have when we're about to orgasm, that wanting to release and surrender into the embrace of the moment of life flowing through you. And when you say yes, 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 Don't you feel your body receiving those waves of energy and release when you say the words, when you voice your desires, when you literally say yes to the yeses, to the yeses? Well, there it is. That is the secret. It's saying yes to ourselves on the deepest level, in the most, as the most sacred act of love. That the universe did not make a mistake in how you and I were born, where you were born, or to whom you were born. It was all part of your and our awakening plan. And that is exactly why you are you and what makes you special. I was reminded as I was on the table that it's not really about touching ourselves on the outside to orgasm, though I mean, it's delicious, but expanding and releasing all that is within us, holding us back. We're actually already literally waiting and bursting to come out of our communal amnesia. The very fact that you were born makes it available to you and to each and every one of us. Your body does remember that feeling of pure bliss is in your body. We see it all the time in our children, those moments that they're completely free and ecstatic, doing their own thing. Those are the same ecstasy that ripples through our bodies as adults. The moments that they are laughing as if it was their first time, their pure presence of connection through their eyes, their embrace to what is, that is all ecstasy. We can taste from the elixir of life. It is not just theirs or ours. It just is. And it's waiting for each and every one of us to drink from it. Now, the day after having this major cathartic experience, I could feel resistance, shame, and fear. All those things that I say that I didn't feel when having the ecstatic awakening. And so I felt, oh shit, how do I share this now? Like, can I share this? Should I? And the old story of if I share something that feels like truth to me, that something bad will happen, not only to me, but to my beloveds around us. Hello, parentheses, past life, past life trauma. Hmm. Each and every time this past week, thoughts of wanting to limit, control, or disconnect came into my head, my body, my still bulging vagina and vulva, reminding me, the universe, my children reminding me that we are built to say yes. So I leave you with these reminders. The more pleasure you feel while being alive, the more you can do or give back to others. The more pleasure you feel, the more the universe, through people and experiences, will show up for you in magnificent ways. The more pleasure you feel, the more joy you are to be around. The more pleasure you feel, the more you can embody the work that you came into this world to do by just being you. The list can go on for days. Make your own list. Take a minute right now, pause if you want to, and make your own list. Find, seek, and say yes to pleasure, to the things that bring you pleasure throughout your day. Write them down. Write them down what you want to say yes as a practice to today. Don't wait until tomorrow. Actually, just add one today, right now. Like if you just want to pause this and like sigh or dance and like stop listening to me, like let pleasure come in the present moment, because that's actually when it comes. Like I didn't know I was going to have that ecstatic awakening on my table. I could feel the ripples moving through my body. I could feel the pain in my left it was my left upper middle back, and I had an image of my dad and my wounding and my karmic line with my father, which, side note, that's where my soul gifts were. Well, now I understood postpartum, all of that time. I understood that my soul gifts came from my father's line, and I could feel something there. And as I was just present with that feeling, I just allowed my body to receive that yes, that yes. So I have this teaching, and you've heard it before around the block. My way of relating to it is the art of living our fuck yeses and our hell nos. Like those are my, if I could share just like one tool and one technique. Hello, I'm a 6'2" generator in human design. The with the left angle cross of healing. So as a generator, postpartum, all of that ecstatic awakening time, I really had to put into practice what were my yeses and what were my nos. So fuck yeses, they have to feel like you want to say, fuck, yeah, I do want to fuck. Yes, yes, yes. Like that is a yes. And a no in our body feels like, oh, hell, like this is going to take me to hell. Like if it feels like it's taking you to hell, then it's a no. And until you know, you just kind of take a step. Like, do I really want to do this right now? Do I really want to say this right now? Do I really want to eat this right? Like, with everything in your life, you just break it down to a fuck yes or to a hell no. And you build your day around that. Literally, it took me years, years to actually really practice, integrate, like say yes when I then realized it was actually a no. So for years, actually, I did that. I would practice the yeses and the nos, and then I realized, oh my gosh, for many a times in a seasons, I actually had to just practice the practice because the practice became my teacher. So I will share with you right now. Hold on. My microphone is literally about to fall. So we're going to have to do something so it doesn't. So if you hear squeaking, you're going to forgive me. um, so this is the moment where I'm going to parentheses and share with you what I really feel for me personally were the two greatest gifts of my spiritual awakening, the one I just read to you about. Number one, learning that I'm not that evolved. I'm not that evolved. And recognizing and remembering, oops, there goes I'm gonna have to hold it for today. The mic. Recognizing and remembering that actually my remembrance is I want to live a more embodied life. Like I want to live as an embodied being. I want to practice being more embodied. It's not about evolving. It's not about shipping myself off to um, a new planet. It's not about me becoming higher than, more than those around me, which that I still struggle with, to be honest. It's still one of my shadowy shits, and that's okay. But that's one of the greatest teachings. So, for the longest time in my first years of my spiritual awakening period, when I just thought I was the shit because I could do all of these cool things because my soul gifts were so evolved that I could do all of these healings and past life regressions and all of these amazing activations, which were they were beautiful and they were wonderful. But then after a couple of years, I actually had a dark night of the soul when all that went to the dark, deep recesses of the void. They no longer existed. Like I could no longer do them as I did before. And it's not like it just, When things die, they die. And then what needs to stay and recycled will be recycled into something new. So may we, as a spiritual community, remember that the spiritual awakening is really to remind us of how to live the divine in the daily, with every action, with every word, with every intention, within and for ourselves, and in relationship to everybody who is around us, our children, our partners, our parents, our communities, our co-workers, our collective. So that's number one. That's it. And then number two, and this is a very personal one. Number one is for all of us. Like, I know a lot of people are becoming more, I hate the word, they're becoming more awake, but that's true. That's how we call it. So the truth is we do come into this world, or we have come into this world, and it's one of the paradoxes where we remember that we are one with all, and then we forget. And so in that remembrance, again, when we live an embodied life, we are living a satiated life. Like it just feels full, even with all of the things that we might call as messy, or like not so pretty, or not so evolved. And that is my practice now. So it's literally inviting us to embrace our humanity and to be more humble. Number two, I had to let go of my great mother archetype. You're going to hear in a minute what happened the day after my spiritual awakening with my eldest daughter, who is now 16. And I've done a lot of healing to reconnect with my beautiful 16-year-old. And I can say, I'm not feeling the teary eyes right now because I've cried so much in gratitude for this, but I've done so much healing that I have reconnected with her so deeply. And we have a beautiful, amazing relationship. And yes, she's a teenager. Hello. Like, come on. This shit works. um, Letting go of my great mother shadow archetype, over smothering, my over giving, and my over critical ways. There's a lot more over, but just think of like over smothering, like you over want you over want to prove that you are so amazing and that you can do it all, that you're like, you like don't let people breathe. That's literally like when you're smothering somebody, you can't even let them be having a horrible day because you want to make it okay. You don't want to feel the pain. You don't want to go deep. And so you just smother it. Oof. So notice the over, like it's over. Like when we practice, when we practice doing alchemical activations, healings, meditations, and practices that help us go in, shadow work that help us to remember and reclaim the parts that we needed to kind of plug back in to the power, to the power filled rays that exist of power, of like innate power, not power over another or sucking somebody's power, then we get relit. The overgiving, oh my God, that took me so long. It's still something that is a daily practice for me. I don't know if it will ever stop. My wanting to overgive, to oversave. This is for another episode, the savior and the martyr archetypes. If you want me to speak to the savior or victim martyr archetypes, or any of the above, let me know. So my overgiving, oh my goodness, my overgiving basically sucks me dry. It sucks us dry when we're not really giving from a full well. Hello, we've all heard of that, but you know what? It is a practice. And the over criticizing, the over being critical. And my spiritual awakening reminded me of that, of like, I was criticizing everything. Like, why aren't I still having spiritual awakenings? Why is that person this? And why am I not this? And why, like just criticizing every single thing. Like, it's so draining. So, so draining. So you're going to laugh with this part. This is what happened to me the day after my spiritual awakening. Sitting on the kitchen floor that morning after my spiritual awakening was probably one of my hardest mama moments ever. I mean, I had many harder ones after that one, if I'm being truthful with you. Teriyaki sauce splattered all over the floor and fridge, oozing with bitter sweetness from the day before. The day before always reverberates and rises raw and real memories that in this day and age remind me of the reality of not being safe inside a woman's body. I'm going to make a little parenthesis. What I mean by that is when we live in our fullness, when we are in our ecstatic nature, we haven't seen as a collective that that is a safe, secure, satiated place to live from. There is a lot of pain, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of trauma. And so that's what I meant with that. What happened the day before is I had a Shakti awakening, whatever that means, as I still don't truly know. I can't remember which email this was, but this was like one of the next emails after that. And I wrote a story about this in one of my beautiful beloved Tisha Lynn's book. So what happened the day before is I had a Shakti awakening, whatever that means, as I still don't truly know. Ecstatic orgasms on my shaman, doula, massage therapist table, heralding the beginning of a reclamation and remembrance that I had always known possible for all mothers. And today I would say for all beings, all women, all beings, but not only for mothers, but for all women. I did write that down. But at that moment, no words to express the immensity of what transpired that day and would continue to transpire for a couple of years. And the morning after, it was like the worst hangover ever. I pleaded to God, to the heavens, to anyone listening to come back to show me the way. Because the truth is, like all of those things that I said a little while ago, they weren't really integrated and landed in my body because there was so much shadow work that I had no idea that I would have to go through. No one came for me there on my kitchen floor. I felt utterly alone. What had just transpired? But my tired mama body of a 6'4" and 2-year-old sat bawling my eyes out because I had screamed at my firstborn daughter for dropping the teriyaki bottle, splattering the whole contents everywhere. Imagine the floor, the walls, everywhere. Again, she had made a mistake, her imperfections, her way of turning my head upside down, her way of being too much, reminded and pressed my sore spots and shined a light on all my imperfections, on all the ways in which I was not perfect, all the ways in which being human and messy and imperfect were not okay. Memories that spanned eternal sorrow, wishing for that eternal embrace. It never came. I weeping all of them while I windshield wiped the floor clean again and again, like the Karate Kid movie. But as if I needed to clean and clean away my shame and my shame of the pain of being so utterly human. That moment and teriyaki sauce now all also hold a sweet spot as a remembrance that I am a wholly human. WHOLLY, a fully human being, and how grace comes to rush in. She wants to come in disguised in different sauces that will continue to spill and seep in through new sacred stories as I continue to embrace my imperfections and our imperfections. So that's the story of the day after. And you can see, you can feel, you can hear the overcritical ways. You can feel and hear so many layers to that. And today, 10 years after that season around 7. I don't even know. If I say this differently, and whoops, my shell fell. Um, if I say it in different ways, it's because I never really remember, but around seven, 7-ish years, 6 years, of the beginning of my dark night of the soul that lasted a couple of years. And so it's all in the journey. It's all in the being present with all of the journey, not just the pleasurable, ecstatic moments, but the experience that wants to enter inside of you, whatever moment you're feeling or you're living. So, my beautiful muses, let's keep inspiring each other to live in the messy, to also live in our mundane ways. Sometimes it's just like wax on, wax off, clean the teriyaki sauce. Today, I broke a glass. My daughter's dog peed on the floor. She cleaned it. I cleaned it. You know, like, can we find ecstasy in those moments too? Like, sometimes it's just so chop wood, carry water. And that is actually what it's all about. It's about embracing the valleys and the mountains and the views from both. So I want to share with you a list of what I've learned in 30 plus years of having a spiritual practice. Before I do this, I'm definitely going to share with you now about Mamamorphosis. It's a 10-month portal of divine and daily transformation for mystic mothers and mystic women who want to remember and reclaim very basic, the very basic, bountiful blessings of being alive. Those are one of the greatest gifts of my spiritual awakening, and then my dark night of the soul, and then my reawakening period after that was that I recognized I want to be alive. I actually want to be the daughter of my father and my mother, regardless of like my pain and my trauma and my ancestral lineage and all of that. Like, I want to be their daughter. Now, a parentheses, I want to be their daughter and I want to be alive in a way in which it feels pleasurable and it doesn't keep recreating those pain points. And there is a beautiful way to do that. I also want to be a wife to my husband. I still want to be his wife. I want to be the mother of our children. I still want to mother them. I still want to do the daily mothering, but without over smothering and actually with a lot more freedom in this era because my youngest is 12. So, and I want to be a mystic. I want to reclaim my soul gifts. I want to share them with others. I want to support and inspire others to remember their mystical, their magical, their mysterious, their mundane and messy ways. Like, they can all be married right here on earth. That's one of my mottos, and you know it. You'll see it throughout my YouTube channel and throughout some of my writings where it's that, how can we marry them all? How they can all be threaded, how they can all be weaved together in wholeness. Doesn't that feel so much for me? I'm remembering in this season of my life that that feels like a challenge, like a chaotic challenge right now that I want to partake in. I want to I want to learn how to live in that story where all of them can be alive because we've come from generations where that could not be alive. Women mystics were not mothers. They were not wives. They barely existed. And wait, I'm not here blaming our men. I am one of these women and mothers who are saying, hello, mothers. We birthed the male and we birthed the female. We birth the male and we birth the female. So enough of this blaming our men because they've literally come from our wombs. From each and every one of our wombs, they have come from. So it's really time for us to rewrite a new story and letting go of our blame buckets. So we can have it all, but not in the way in which we're not tending with tenderness our land, our water, our elements, the things we buy, the things we say. You know what I'm talking about. Like we're in this modern time, and how can we live as a modern mystic with all of these teachings and not have to hide anymore, not feel like we're going to be killed and literally not be killed for being mystics, for sharing messages that are here to uplift and to remind humanity that we are all one, that what I do does matter, that however I treat my husband matters because my children will see it. And even if they won't see it, they will feel it. And for all of our beautiful listeners who are no longer with their partners or who are needing a death in a relationship or a death in a job or a death in an era of their lives, just know that it is okay to go through those death portals. But do know that when you come back, you'll have to make peace with that past. And I'm talking about full on ass peace. Like I've said in the past, like, oh yeah, I've made peace with him. And then I've had these night visions, these night dreams where I've literally been awoken being like, your ass ain't done with that. You still got to make peace. You still got to make love to that person. Even if you don't make love to that person anymore, physically, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, where you have to go through layer by layer and make peace with your past. So don't think that just because you've ended something and you're going on to something new, you actually do have to do the work. And what would it look like if we kept birthing our children from love? What would it look like if we kept saying that our yeses are holy, right? That our yes fucking someone is holy, that yes having a child is holy, that yes all of those yeses, right? Look in the future of what our holy yeses are literally going to birth. That I think is what my invitation for this episode today is, which is the number 9 episode. And now it's all coming clearly to me. This is why it's been so long. It's been a long ass episode. The number 9 is the being able to see the greater picture of the 9-year trajectory. It's not the ending, it's the culmination of everything that you have traversed. And it's that beautiful, joy-filled, like peaceful state where you recognize all of the lessons and you're starting to let go of the things that will die, that will be recycled back into you, into the earth, into the ethers, and gratitude and offerings for everything that you've learned, and that it will be renewed in the next month, in the next year, in the next minute. Like if you're in 9 minutes, like just think of the symbology and the meaning of numerology. And Back to Mamamorphosis, I went on a long tangent. That's why it's 10 months, because it is a sacred container where I am gifting you alchemical activations that are going to be supporting you in your divine and daily transformation, because these practices have to land. You have to land them. I don't have to land them for you. I'm not going to be your midwife telling you how to birth your baby or what to eat or what not to eat, but I am going to be there holding that container space and supporting you to actually recognize that there's a beautiful mandala supporting you, inviting you, thanks to our sacred feminine mystery. These teachings are sacred, alchemical, feminine mystery activations. You can go to my website for more on Mamamorphosis. You also get a tinge of being able to work with me through my Soul Speak session, my 101 private session, where I support you on what season you're in. Whatever season you're in, honor it. Honor it, herald it, like speak it, celebrate it, mourn it, grieve it, ask it what it wants to gift to you. Because what is coming when we're present with what is only gets more beautiful if we see it through the sacred eyes of the holy. So I'll leave you with what I've learned in 30 years of my spiritual practice. I have many more, but these are the ones that I wrote down. So we're going to end with these. This one's a recap. Number one, it's about embodying that experience of ecstasy in the daily, mundane, messy moments. Yes, it is. Number two, my connection and intuition are my guiding North Star. Your connection, your intuition. Mamamorphosis and all of my offerings at the MMM Sanctuary are not a template for you to do and then to birth, etc. They're temple offerings that are transmissions that are going to accompany you while you reconnect with your own sacred intuition, while you keep going deeper into your own intimate knowing, into your insourcing, your sovereignty and your satiation, into feeling into where is your guiding North Star. Number three, I have learned I must have humility. I am not your savior, but I can share with you how I live a satiated life. Like up to today for lunch, I normally eat something warm. Today, I wanted to have a yummy fruit and hemp smoothie. That's it. I felt like that was a fuck yes. That's living satiated, one drink at a time. And P.S., I'm not always satiated. That is the truth. It's the call and the response to God. It's the call and the response, the longing, and then the remembering. Number four, compassion. Compassion, babe, compassion. Compassion with yourself, compassion with others, and live my passions. Live your passions, people. Pleasure equals passions. Passions equal pleasure. Number five, I like to order things and I didn't write them down. That's why it takes me a little. Pardon your people. Number five in numerology is about the adventurous change, like that change number, but like the feeling that you get, like it's hard to pardon your people. You know what people I'm talking about. Pardon your people. All right. It's hard, but when you truly pardon in your soul, like soul pardoning, And then in the day-to-day part in your people, then you're transformed. Number 6, there is no endpoint. Number 6 is the mother number, the nurturing number, and it would have to be number 6. There is no endpoint. And I'm actually a number 6. My life path number in numerology is a number 6. Number 7, live your soul's work. Live your soul's work daily. Everything that you do is your soul's work. It's not just one thing that you do and you package up to sell it. Living your soul's work is a daily deed, a daily divine deed in the things that you do by being who you truly are. A divine spark. Yes, you are. And the last one, sometimes number 8. Yes, number 8, the abundance number. Number 8, the leader in all areas of your life, even when you feel stuck, because sometimes you're going to feel stuck, even at number 8. Like you're going to be like, am I really a leader in this area of my life? And you'll have to remember, oh, yes, I am a leader. But then you'll have to remember the things that are, you're self-sabotaging or that you're not actually doing to support you in being that leader. So number 8, the last one, sometimes you're going to feel stuck. You're going to feel scared. It's going to feel shitty. All right. Just make peace with it. Keep chopping wood and carrying your water, beloved ones. In these times on this earth where there is so much change happening, so much chaos, remember that chaos and change is what births. Remember in my spiritual awakening story where, the speaker, ¿cómo se llama? I forgot. I'm trying to get, it keeps falling. That thing that holds my voice, the speaker keeps falling. So in my spiritual awakening story, where I shared that I felt all of the bodies, like literally I felt all of the beings, all humans coming into my body and being conceived and birthed and then dying and leaving my body. Like that is the remembrance that the ability to know that we are in this beautiful vessel to live in our fullness, even until we die, because we will die. I'm not one of those spiritual speakers that say we are not going to die, we're just going to transform into another energy. Yes, we are going to transform our energy into another energetic I don't know what the word would be, but yes, that is going to happen. And we are still going to die. Like my physical, like what I'm touching right now in my chest, that will no longer be. And so that's what I mean, like keep chopping wood, carrying water, this beautiful vessel that is your blessed body. It is holy. That is the summary of the ecstasy for today's podcast. May we remember that we can live ecstasy in the daily, in our births, in our rebirths, and even till our death. Ecstatic deaths are a thing. If you've never heard of them, know that each and every one of us is also entitled to an ecstatic death. Can you believe that? Can you believe that we are invited to die surrendering, knowing that we have lived our life in fullness and in freedom and with fierceness? Oh my gosh. Now that is also a practice, but just know that those whispers are heard, and each and every one of us can live our daily life in ecstasy if we choose to. Have a beautiful, blessed day, my beautiful muse.